So many years of catastrophe, more than 6 million refugees. It could be you and your family, folks from your home and your history.
We are the people, and this is our time. Stand up, sing out for Palestine.
Hello. I'm your host, Kathleen Wells, and welcome to Palestine Today, a radio program dedicated to the news about Palestine. My co-host is British journalist and campaign filmmaker Harry Fear, and Palestine Today brings you what? The unfiltered truth. The unfiltered truth where you will get nowhere else in the mainstream media. In fact, I think there's only 2 other stations in the West that talk about the situation the situation in Palestine, and that's Jeff Blankford's show on KZYX. His show is Takes on the World. You can go online and search kzyx.org and listen to his program. It's on Wednesdays. It's fantastic. You don't want to miss it. And also Don Bustante talks about it on KPFK. His show is on Wednesday. You can Google it. You don't want to miss that one either. So those 2 stations and us here at KCAA, that's the only 2 places in the West that I know of, where you can get the unfiltered truth about Palestinians, where you can actually hear from Palestinians themselves. You don't have to listen to the spin that we get in the mainstream media. So in our first, In our first segment today, we will speak with Edward Clark, who has established the Bristol Nakba Museum. And in our second segment, we will hear from Dr. Khaldun Bshara, a Palestinian architect, who will talk to us from the West Bank about preservation of historical sites in Palestine. But before we bring on our guests, I want to welcome my co-host, Harry Fear. Hi, Harry.
Hey, everyone. Hi, Kathleen. Nice to be back on the show, as always.
Well, I'm glad you're here. I love having you. And I don't want to forget to mention that it is important that listeners of KCAA help us, because we need to keep the show on the air. This is original content. You won't get it anywhere else. Unfortunately, we have to pay for our airtime. Why? Because this show is independently owned. And what happens with independently owned stations? You get the truth. So you're going to get the truth, and you can hear from Palestinians speak their story, their point of view themselves. You don't have to rely on spin. So help Harry and I keep Palestine Today on the air. Go to my website, thekathleenwellshow.com, and make a donation. And in that way, the show will be on the air. If you help us to help you. Help us to help you, bring you the truth. That's what I'm asking. So please make a donation at KathleenWells.com. And all donations go to production expenses of the show. Harry and I are volunteer hosts. We cannot be more forthright. That's the way I want to put it. We cannot be more forthright with you. I mean, what do I have to do? Actually bring Fred Lundgren, the CEO of the station, on here to tell you what's going on? Why? To have him explain to you why we have to pay for our own airtime? Is that what you need? Is that what you need for you to make a donation? But anyway, please go to my website, thekathleenwellshow.com, make a donation. We appreciate it very much. So, Harry, is there anything you'd like to add to that?
No, that's great, and I hope that people can help, because the feedback that we get for the show is very important, and those among us, therefore, have to try their bit to allow it to survive. Of course, most people cannot actually help, but of course there are some that are privileged that can, so to those people we say, please do help. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And before we bring on our first guest, who is Edward Clark with the Bristol Nakba Museum, before I bring him on, I'd like to say a quote that was made by Ariel Sharon, and the quote is, this is Ariel Sharon, and he made this quote on October 3rd, 2001. He said, quote, "Every time we do something, you tell me America will do this and will do that. I want to tell you something very clear. Don't worry about American pressure on Israel. We, the Jewish people, control America, and the Americans know it." This is a quote from Ariel Sharon on October 3rd, 2001, and he was speaking to Shimon Peres. So, we are the American people, are we not? So we're going to tell Ariel Sharon that he has it wrong. Or at least, if he doesn't have it wrong, it's going to change. It's going to change because we're going to get informed and we're going to find out what's happening. That's what's going to happen. We're going to get informed and we're going to find out what's happening and we're going to change things. So, with that being said, let me welcome Edward Clark. Hi, Edward, are you there?
Hi, Kathy, and so wonderful to speak to you. And I'm full of admiration for both yourself, your program, everything you're trying to do. And special thanks also to Harry Fear. Glad to meet him. So, the idea of this particular Nakba museum is to educate people on the history prior to the Nakba, the history of Palestine, a beautiful country full of beautiful people that were out of the blue, without hardly any warning, were literally kind of depossessed by what I call the most kind of evil and, concentrated effort against the innocent people that we've ever witnessed. It's a disgrace, and the fact that it's been hidden for all these years is absolutely frightening. So the idea of the museum, it's also a Palestinian embassy. We had the ambassador from Palestine, from London, open it with the mayor of Bristol, and ever since then we've spread our wings. We've had so much good support. We have a following now. In a matter of a few days, we've actually lit the paper that you're talking about in America, about, the conspiracy, the lack of information, the total, kind of blanket control over the truth. So in a way, we feel privileged to be in this position that we can actually, tell it as it really is with people totally supporting us.
Could you just talk a little bit about the context in the UK of the support for Palestinians or support for Israelis, because it may well be different from our audience in the United States. Could you paint the picture?
Well, I would say that there's an incredible amount of goodwill towards the Palestinians. There is confusion, lack of knowledge, very little support for the Israelis from the grassroots. The grassroots are also fairly, I wouldn't say ignorant, but ill-informed, mainly because of our media. But when they do break through that barrier, they're pretty much 100% pro-Palestinian. So I would say generally, from a political aspect, the country is pro-Israel. From the grassroots, when they're educated, it's pro-Palestinian, or should I say pro-justice, So I think that's the way I would sum it up. Pro-justice.
So you explain to me, not everyone in the United States is a geography expert. So tell people where Bristol is located. How far?
That's the best way of putting it, Kathleen. That has to go down in one of the ultimate quotes of this show.
Okay, I'm glad you guys liked it. So explain, we're in the West. We're here in San Bernardino, which is Southern California. So explain to listeners exactly where Bristol is located.
Well, Bristol is a seaport. It is probably the biggest. It was the biggest slave trading port. So in a way, it's great for the Atlantic. It's also probably one of the first, major kind of cities that traded in most things, even before London. So in a way, Bristol is kind of like bang in the estuary. It's the centre of not the actual. It's a geographic centre if you measure it, whereas London's on the east side. So in a way, strategically, it's well placed. So it's in the countryside, 150 miles from London, 150 miles from Birmingham. So that's Bristol for you. A beautiful city, full of very, conscious people. So I'd say it's above average in terms of awareness.
Above average in terms of awareness. Do you think that has something to do with where it's located? You think there's some correlation?
I would think so, yes. Definitely think so. It has a very vibrant, it's insulated from the rest of the country in a sense. London, it rivals London in its own little way, but it has a vibrant music. A lot of protest music emanates from Bristol. Has a very good rootsy side. East side Bristol, is very reggae, very cosmopolitan. It's a beautiful city in that sense.
Okay, so Edward, what motivated you to open up the museum? It's called the Bristol Nakba Museum. People can Google Bristol Nakba Museum. Do you have information online about the museum?
We do. Well, there is something online, but it's not as good as it should be. We are a very small entity at the moment, and therefore we have information out there, but it'll get updated. We have to apologise if there's scarcity in information. That's my view anyway.
This is normal in the charitable sector, right?
Yes.
I think so. Yeah. Motivation.
Yes.
I would think Cast Lead really opened my eyes. Other people around me, Rita, the coordinator, long time before me, but it was Cast Lead when that sheer carnage, the level of brutality which hadn't been witnessed since the Second World War, where I thought bombing cities was taboo, but obviously Israel proved us all wrong. Everything that we should have learned from the Second World War was just actually wiped from their conscience. And after that, naturally, when you want to see the context of Cast Lead, so therefore led me into a profound search into the history, then the Nakba, and when I look at the sheer scale of kind of preparation and attack against an innocent population, I was just astounded. And so we've committed ourselves to saying, well, this Nakba Museum will stay until the end of occupation or justice for Palestinians. That's how affected I was by what I read, and I haven't heard a counter argument against that sentiment that holds up to justifying what's happened and what is still happening. So until somebody comes up to me and tells me different, that's the course I've set. You know what I mean? No.
Kathleen, actually, the Operation Cast Lead, the Gaza War, the 22-day Gaza War of winter 2008-9, that war that you've been talking about, that is one of the main milestones that I hear around the world and online for people becoming aware or conscious or radicalized or brought to action on the situation in Gaza or Palestine. And the other big one I hear is the May 2010 Mavi Marmara Gaza Freedom Flotilla attack, which took place in international waters and etc., and also got media attention. But also, equally, hopefully and strongly, also the recent 8-day war in November last year. I get emails and messages all the time from people saying, I knew nothing about what was going on in Palestine until this recent war. And so that has brought on a whole new wave of people who are willing to do something, to expose the situation and to bring in their energy and skills to support the Palestinians. And I think that will obviously work against Israel and for justice and human rights. And that's something which, unfortunately, people have died for. But at least it's a positive manifestation that more people are willing to do something.
Mm-hmm. Well, I love your optimism. So I know, Edward, that you wanted to have your coordinator, Rita. I can't remember her last name. Forgive me.
It's okay. It's Rita Cangelosi. I'm Italian, and Eddie is my partner. And basically, I had this idea when Palestine being recognized by UNESCO, and I said, well, we have to enforce that now as we have to create an embassy so they can have more space around the world. And so that was difficult thought. So this is not going to be possible to do it. But then, little by little, I say this needs to be done. So I invite the ambassador and the Lord Mayor, and both of them say we come. So I had something like 1 month to prepare an exhibition, and it was by myself. And then eventually I got a group of people, volunteers, came to help me in every possible manner they can. They bring information, they bring photos, and became really beautiful exhibition. But I noticed when people walk in, they just go, some of them, they just stop at the checkpoint, because we create an internal checkpoint and a prison. And I think it's too much for people to absorb all this information. It's quite heavy stuff, and I see a couple of people crying. And I always say, well, come back again. And it's, we need to inform people what's going on. This is not political. We are a charity, and we just need to put all the information there to let people know.
Have you had problems with your status as a charity? Because I know that certainly in some cases in the UK or incidents, there have been problems with charities that have tried to bring awareness to the situation in Palestine, some way being disrupted or getting their charitable status put at risk.
We are not for-profit organization. We are not registered as a charity, but it is a charity. Not for-profit organization. Okay. Is a charity in UK. No, we didn't have any problem at all, no. We have lots of people really congratulate with us for all the work we've done. My aim now, my next step is try to get this exhibition all over the world. I can give all my work I've done till now to anyone who have a little space, or they can ask schools, churches, shops, just to have a little display. It doesn't have to be everything is here. Only a couple of things, like a little bit of activism, and maybe the wall, the story of the wall, the story of the olive trees, anything that, one good things and one bad things, so people can balance. Otherwise, people tend, when it's too much violence, too much disgrace, people tend to run away because they can't bear with the fact that other people are suffering, and tend to run away. So if we have anyone who want to do that, I'm very happy to pass all the work I've done.
Well, I hope that we can facilitate that if someone contacts either Kathleen or myself, Harry Fear. But I just wondered, how do you get people to visit this museum? I mean, outreach in the context of supporting the Palestinians or bringing awareness to the situation in Palestine is very difficult. Trying to bring normal, so to speak, ordinary people into the fold, it's something which is not sexy. I mean, how do you bring people in to care? How do you bring people in to witness?
Yeah, basically I'm a member of PSC, but this is made independently by Alien Coconuts, which is our...
The PSC is Palestine Solidarity Campaign in the UK, by the way.
Yes, sorry about that. And so they help me, and they help us, and they are actually work here as well as build this up. So it's so many different groups came along and work together. So there is an emailing list that went out to invite people here. So we got hundreds of people walking on last Saturday, which the ambassador was here and the Lord Mayor and gave the most beautiful speech the ambassador ever done. He was really, really happy, and it was one of the most rewarding day of my life. And then we just have we are back in the middle of the city center, so we have a nailboard outside. And this is the first week. Yesterday we had something like 35 people walk in, which is not bad for the first day. And today maybe even more, maybe 40 people, which is okay. We're going to build that until we got lots of people come in, and we're going to find a way of introducing other network. I haven't thought about that yet, but I'm working on it.
Okay, so we're speaking to you from the museum, the Bristol Nakba Museum. We're speaking with Rita and Edward. And let me ask you, I know you mentioned that there are two other people that may want to say something. Edward, do you want to put them on the line?
Yep, we have one chap that his perspective, he is somebody that's used the Nakba Museum for the first time, and he's acquainted with the situation of Palestine. so he's well versed on the subject. But it's unique in the sense that he has his observations as an observer, seeing the Nakba Museum for the first time. So I'll introduce you to your name. Rowan.
And then Tom.
And then we have Tom.
Okay, great.
Rowan.
Well, Kathleen, I've walked in off the street today, and it's interesting to see the building completely transformed. They've done a very good job. Almost 3 stories full of information. You could spend hours in here looking around. I find particularly the most striking image is the image of Palestine in 1946, progressing through to 2012, where you can see the land being eaten away. I think if anyone hasn't seen the image, I'd recommend looking at it on Google. I work with a refugee charity in Bristol called Home is Where the Heart Is, and attending meetings with various refugees, the situation in Palestine seems to be one of the more serious ones, and it often doesn't get coverage in the news in the UK. And it's easy following the news coverage to ignore the personal plight of people, and you tend not to see them as individuals. And coming here and seeing the pictures, it really does show you how difficult it is for individuals who are living lives not so very differently to ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're right, Ron.
You okay? Yeah. Okay, and now we have Tom. Now Tom is part of the project from almost day one. So he has been to Palestine, more than aware of the situation, but he's bringing a different perspective into this particular movement. So I'll give you Tom.
Hello, Kathleen.
Hi, Tom.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Really nervous and...
Don't be nervous.
Don't be nervous. We just want to understand the museum, and actually it was great speaking with Rowan because it helped us imagine this amazing building, and we can just imagine it full of all of this information. It must be something incredible in the context of Bristol.
Yeah, it's a great thing, and it's Rita's idea, even though Eddie wants to say it's his. Right. Okay, so what it does, it does provide a lot of information which we all need to find out about the situation. But it does another thing, an important thing, that it brings people together to support each other. And for the day, we've had people from Birmingham, Cardiff, 4-hour Embassy Open Day. We have people from all over the country find out in a few weeks about this exhibition. They turned up, and it's the busiest weekend of the year. Loads of other things to do, and they came here and supported this Palestine thing.
Well, welcome. I appreciate you taking the time to join us here on Palestine today. And I want to thank you, Edward and Rita and Tom, and was the other man's name Owen? I want to thank you guys for joining us on Palestine today. I'm delighted. And
thank you.
Kathleen, can I just add one more thing that Tom didn't want to say for some reason? I forgot. Only 1 second. He does bikes, basically the bike project. We will buy scrap bikes. He will fix it, and we're going to send them to Palestine. And he's going to work on this bike project. His email address is bikes2 as a number 2 Palestine @gmail.com. So bikes2 Palestine @gmail.com. If anyone wants to get information from him or send ideas or have a bikes to scrap.
Can I just confirm the email address? It's bikes2palestine @nsasnooping.com. Sorry, I couldn't resist.
That was funny, Harry.
Thank you for making me laugh, Harry. I really need it. It's quite heavy to do all this work. Very, absorbing.
Congratulations on the work.
I didn't laugh for quite a long time, but thank you, Harry.
Okay, well, thank you, Rita. Thank you, Edward. We appreciate it. The email to send bikes. If you have bicycles that you'd like to donate to Palestine, you can send them to bikes2. Tell me again. Bikes2
Palestine.
2
2 as a number 2, Palestine @gmail.com.
Bikes2, that's numeral 2, Bikes2Palestine @gmail.com to send bicycles that will be donated to Palestine. Thank you very much, Edward.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you, Kathleen. Thank you,
And thank you, Harry. See you soon.
See you soon.
Okay, we're going to take a break right now. When we come back from the break, we're going to be joined by Palestinian. We're going to be joined by Khaldun Bshara, who is in the West Bank. He's a Palestinian architect. He's going to talk to us about preservation of historical sites in Palestine. So don't go away and join us. We'll be right back. Hi, this is Kathleen Wells, the host of Palestine Today. And Harry Fear and I, guess what? We need you, the public, who is listening to KCAA's Palestine Today, to donate. We must pay for our airtime. We are volunteer hosts. Please go to my website, thekathleenwellsshow.com, click on the donate button, and donate to Palestine Today. Your generosity will help to keep the show on the air. Without it, we cannot keep the show on the air. So, no matter how small or how large, please make a donation. We need you, the public who's listening to Palestine Today, to make a contribution, to make a donation, to tell us, yes, that you like this show and you want Palestine Today to continue. So don't forget, thekathleenwellsshow.com. Make a donation. We're counting on you.
Playgrounds for Palestine is a non-for-profit 501c3 organization dedicated to upholding the Palestinian child's rights to play. This is a right enshrined in the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. We operate through a volunteer board and staff, the generosity of our supporters, and a lot of heart. To date, Playgrounds for Palestine has constructed 15 playgrounds in Palestine, as well as refugee camps in Lebanon and Syria. To contribute to this most worldly cause, please go to our website at www.playgroundsforpalestine.org or send a check to Playgrounds for Palestine, P.O. Box 559, Yardley, Pennsylvania 19067 at www.playgroundsforpalestine.org. Are you fascinated by the Middle East, but worried that U.S. foreign policy may lead yet to another war? Do you care about civil rights? For the past 30 years, the Washington Report on Middle East Affairs has brought its readers the real news, minus the corporate media spin. Read about Palestinians trying to survive the world's largest occupation. Learn how your hard-earned tax dollars fund that illegal occupation. Find out how much your members of Congress has received from pro-Israel PACs, and much, much more. Visit the Washington Report's website, www.wrmea.org, or call 888-881-5861 to request a free sample copy. Better yet, subscribe. It's only $29 for 9 issues. Mention Palestine Today and get a bonus gift.
Can you smell the aroma of sweet, delicious fruit and flaky, melt-in-your-mouth crust? What is that? It's Cobblermania. Cobblermania is a specialty dessert company founded several years ago that sells delicious fruit cobblers that are baked daily and sweetened with diabetic-friendly agave. Agave, you ask? Yes. It's like sugar, but not sugar, and better than sugar. Cobblermania cobblers are sold at the Torrance, Hollywood, Culver City, San Dimas, Marina Del Rey Farmers Market. Also, apple and peach are sold daily at the Golden Bird in Los Angeles. You know Golden Bird that sells the fried chicken? At 83rd and Western, daily apple and peach cobblers. And yes, guess what? They're coming to the Pomona Fairplex Truck Fest. In fact, they're there right now, Thursdays from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Gate 1. Some of the favorites: peach, apple, mango, blueberry peach, blackberry, blackberry, apple, white peach. If you go to the Pomona Truck Fest Gate 1 on Thursdays from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. and mention me, Kathleen, you'll get something special. You don't want to miss it. I've had them. They're delicious.
So many years of catastrophe, more than 6 million refugees. It could be you and your family, folks from your home and your history.
We are the people, and this is our time. Stand up, sing out for Palestine.
Welcome back to Palestine Today. We were just listening to Edward Clark and Rita and Tom at the Bristol Nakba Museum. They were informing us. Do you know that you can donate? They have a website, but I think they also told us that you can donate bicycles to Palestine at gmail.com if you want to donate bicycles. Now we're going to bring on our guest, Palestinian. Actually, I'm going to have Harry introduce him. Harry, are you on the line? I don't have Harry, Joe.
Hello. Yeah, no, Kathleen, I was just going to say actually that also they can be donating bicycles which need repair. They don't necessarily have to be functional right now, but they can be repaired.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I said the email address correctly, right? Bicycles, #2, Palestine at gmail.com. If you have bicycles that need repair, you can send them to that email address, and they will be sent to Palestinians, bicycles that need repair. So you want to introduce our next guest, Harry?
Our next guest is Dr. Khaldun Bshara from Palestine. And we're very, very honored to have him on. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
So, say your name again, Khaldun. I can't.
My name is Khaldun Bshara, but you can call me whatever. If you have problems, just say Sami.
Okay, I'm going to try Khaldun Bshara. You're with.
That's great.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. You're with. Oh gosh, how do I pronounce this? RIWAQ. Is that correct?
Yeah, this is perfect. RIWAQ.
I mean, I'm a little embarrassed, a little bit. So,
Kathleen, you just got an A star there for this pronunciation. We're doing good. We're going up in the world.
Yes.
Okay. So the question I would like to ask you is, tell us about your organization, RIWAQ. You're the co-director. Give us some information about RIWAQ.
Yeah, RIWAQ is a non-governmental organization. Established in 1991 to protect and to restore and to promote cultural heritage in Palestine, especially the built form of cultural heritage. We work on different levels. We work on awareness level, community campaigns, and so on. We do the inventory. We are the home of the National Registry. We have the Register of Historic Buildings in Palestine. We do restoration, physical restoration, and we do publications as well.
And what is your goal? What is
Our goal is to enhance the living conditions for people who is still living in historic buildings or historic centers, who are stigmatized as primitive or backward or as uncivilized or something like that. So we try to reverse the conditions or the living conditions of those people to make it more attractive and even valuable.
So, and I know that you were trained in the United States. In fact, you went to school at the university here out in Southern California, UCI Irvine. Talk to me about the difference between the sensibility or the awareness, cultural awareness here in the United States versus. Talk to me. I think there is when we talk about cultural heritages, we are talking different scales actually between Palestine and the United States. We have heritage which is like at least 10,000 years ago. We can go to Jericho, which is the oldest city in the world, and still see constructions from that period, which is from the Neolithic age. In Southern California, I didn't see such heritage, but still they have the sensitivity and sensibility to treat these monuments from the 18th century or the 19th century in very, very sensitive way, which is really promising. Excuse me. So what motivated you to attend university here in the United States at Irvine?
I'm architect and restorer by profession. I did my first 2 degrees, BA in architecture and restoration, master in restoration. But after that, I turned to space and memory, and I tried to study something about Palestinian refugees who were deported and removed from their natural habitat or their houses in the Nakba of 1948. And so I turned to social science and anthropology, and I did my MA and PhD in UCI, actually. It's a personal interest. It's a personal interest, which is, of course, interact with my long practice interest, which is space and heritage and memory, because these heritages embody memories.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, actually, I wondered for you personally, psychologically, whether it was something strange to go to the US when you arrived. I mean, I visited the US for the first time last winter, actually, I think it was. And in a way, I mean, certainly politically speaking, not socially speaking, but politically speaking, I felt in a way that I was, to be honest with you, in a way entering the lion's den, actually.
Yeah, I was in Orange County. I know what does it mean, but believe me, it's when you talk to the people in the human level and the university level and the market level, the people, they are just people. You are annoyed by Fox News only. Fox News makes me mad, but I stopped after 3 months to have I don't want to see Fox News, but otherwise the people, they were fantastic. I cannot complain. It was a luxurious space to live and to study and to have charming, smiling people all the time. This was fascinating for me.
So I have a question. This is a political question, how does the fact that your land, you're in the West Bank, we're talking to you from the West Bank, how does the fact that your land is occupied by Israel adversely impact your efforts to restore the heritage of Palestine? How do you juxtapose, how do you reconcile is the question, how do you reconcile these two aspects?
Thank you for asking. Actually, the political conflict usually is like the first victim of political conflict is the heritage, because people try to destroy the memories of the people that makes them a nation, or they makes them a mass mind. So when Israel started, or the Independence Day, which is our catastrophe in 1948, they start destroying our heritage, destroying more than 400 villages. So, and even in 1967, when they occupied the West Bank, they destroyed the Moroccan quarter in Jerusalem and made the Wailing Wall. In 2002, they destroyed segments of Hebron, segments of Nablus. And believe me, they did not destroy it for military reason or security reason. They destroyed just for the sake of destruction. And I'm not happy to say so, because I'm still confident and hopeful that the Jewish people or our neighbors will wake up one day and say, like, okay, we are messing it up because this Palestine belongs to everybody and we want to share it, not for Palestinians only, or not for Jewish, not for Christian or Muslim or whatever, because the people are just people. Anyway, but the political conflict who claims that it's over, not over, and believe me, it impacts our everyday work. For instance, since 1993, we have Oslo Agreement. Oslo Agreement fragmented Palestine into 3 zones, A, B, C. And C is where most of our archaeological sites located. It's under Israeli control. But Israeli control does not mean control. It means leaving it to looting and vandalism, and find the way for these artifacts to the Israeli market, for Israeli antiquity market. So this makes us really sad and desperate sometimes, but Palestinians, they managed to live more than 65 years with these conditions, and we try as NGO to raise awareness that the remaining 422 villages is worth conserving for future, and it's worth conserving as a historical document, that document for human beings who are living and practicing life, not destruction in this country.
So, this raises the issue of revisionism, revisionist history, does it not?
Yes. Yeah, we have this small unit in RIWAQ, which is called Publication Unit, and I am proud to be the series editor since 2010. We publish books, and believe me, we publish books in Arabic because our history was not written by us. So we try to rewrite history, and this is reversal of the colonial conditions. We have every single student now studying in Birzeit University, you mentioned, or Najah University, or wherever, wants to find some books talking about his heritage, not the other's heritage. And he finds nothing. He finds some books written by Orientalists or written by the victorious Jewish Zionist groups that takes the things from context. So we believe that at least the 15 books already published, like make a light in this dark atmosphere. And students are starting to learn, at least from their point of view, the missing practices that we long for or long to reactivate, actually.
You know, this really resonates with me as a black woman in the United States when you say the history of the Palestinian people has not been written by Palestinians. As a black woman, I can say the history of blacks in America has not been written by blacks in America. Oh, that resonates so strongly and so deeply with me. And that's something that I work, you know, I have a Wednesday show. And on my Wednesday show, I address this issue also. I talk about this issue. It is so important because everything is a matter of perspective and a point of view. And those in power have a necessity and a desire to revisit or to alter what actually took place. You know?
That's right. And you're absolutely right. We make all these comparisons, and I don't like to make comparisons because every context is different. But really, the heritage as a medium to think history is very important. They are almost a history book in front of your eyes. You can learn from it. And while we are doing restoration of heritage, we are doing reviving of arts and crafts that were lost by modernism or by colonialism. Not only by doing this we create jobs and new ways of life, but also appreciation of one's heritage. And this is the most important thing. During the last 65 years, we have a devaluation of our heritage by the occupier. And even we embodied this devaluation. We thought like those people who are living in the historic buildings, they didn't make it to civilization. Mm-hmm. They didn't make it to steel and the glass and concrete. And so our work is just saying, okay, this is our heritage. We should be proud of it. And it functions very beautifully. We did it with our skills, with our material, without importing anything from outside. And so the heritage becomes a medium to meaning making, not only to have museums. I'm not against museums, as you were talking about the Nakba Museum, but at least heritage is something living. And this is the beauty of RIWAQ's work. We try to put life back in the historic centers, which were devalued and deserted in the last 65 years.
Devalued and deserted. Well, I love having you on. We're going to take a break, and what you're saying resonates with me. Your history and your heritage means everything, and the victors write history. They rewrite it, they make it up because they're the victors. I know that experience. I can feel it deeply. Thank you. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about some more of this stuff, okay? Thanks.
We are the people, and this is our time. Stand up, sing out for Palestine.
Playgrounds for Palestine is a non-for-profit 501c3 organization dedicated to upholding the Palestinian child's rights to play. This is a right enshrined in the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. We operate through a volunteer board and staff, the generosity of our supporters, and a lot of heart. To date, Playgrounds for Palestine has constructed 15 playgrounds in Palestine, as well as refugee camps in Lebanon and Syria. To contribute to this most worldly cause, please go to our website at www.playgroundsforpalestine.org or send a check to Playgrounds for Palestine, P.O. Box 559, Yardley, Pennsylvania 19067 at www.playgroundsforpalestine.org.
Hi, this is Kathleen Wells, the host of Palestine Today. And Harry Fear and I, guess what? We need you, the public, who is listening to KCAA's Palestine Today, to donate. We must pay for our airtime. We are volunteer hosts. Please go to my website, thekathleenwellsshow.com, click on the donate button, and donate to Palestine Today. Your generosity will help to keep the show on the air. Without it, we cannot keep the show on the air. So, no matter how small or how large, please make a donation. We need you, the public who's listening to Palestine Today, to make a contribution, to make a donation, to tell us, yes, that you like this show and you want Palestine Today to continue. So don't forget, thekathleenwellsshow.com. Make a donation. We're counting on you.
Are you fascinated by the Middle East, but worried that U.S. foreign policy may lead yet to another war? Do you care about civil rights? For the past 30 years, the Washington Report on Middle East Affairs has brought its readers the real news, minus the corporate media spin. Read about Palestinians trying to survive the world's largest occupation. Learn how your hard-earned tax dollars fund that illegal occupation. Find out how much your members of Congress has received from pro-Israel PACs, and much, much more. Visit the Washington Report's website, www.wrmea.org, or call 888-881-5861 to request a free sample copy. Better yet, subscribe. It's only $29 for 9 issues. Mention Palestine today and get a bonus gift.
Broadcasting more local radio programs than any other station in California, we are KCAA.
So many years of catastrophe, more than 6 million refugees. It could be you and your family, forced from your home and your histories.
We are the people, and this is our time. Stand up, sing out for Palestine.
Welcome back. I'm delighted to have our guest, Dr. Khaldun Bshara, who is in the West Bank, and he is with the organization RIWAQ, which is about preservation of historical sites in Palestine. So, Harry, you want to take it from there?
No, listening to your work, listening to the passion that you have for your work, I'm thinking to myself, damn, I wish more people had passion for their work like you do, that they had a philosophy behind it, and as if it was so meaningful for people. I think it's so certainly inspiring. And I'm guessing that in a way you see your work as a kind of resistance against the occupation. And I wondered if you could talk about generally what resistance has come to mean for Palestinians in the 21st century.
Yes, I started to talk about the valuation of your own heritage, and the heritage as a medium for a creative force to be reactivated. During the occupation, we were not allowed to design, to plan. And to design and to plan, this was done by the Israeli authorities, which means you are born as an architect even. You are born as a human, but your future is already designed. You just embody. You don't reflect, you don't intervene, you don't change. So while we've been doing this work in RIWAQ for the last 20 years, we started to see heritage as a place which is invisible, but we can intervene into the people's life and change their life. So the heritage becomes a medium for changing people's life, not only the architect who becomes like the authority or the planner who becomes the authority, but the whole complex stakeholders combining their forces to change their life. And believe me, we are almost 15 to 17 people. We are all young people, and we think of the heritage, which means it's strange. Usually you have archaeologists who are 80, almost archaeology actually, thinking about archaeology. Right. But we are young people who feel obligated, or we find this task is very important to Palestinian nation building. And we don't wave the flags wherever we go, but at the end, what we conserve is the incubators of memory, and people without memory is nothing. And so even this heritage helped us to do many things that even modern nations could not do. For instance, in every project we try to blur boundaries, disciplinary boundaries which were founded by colonial or modern theorists, between architecture and art, between landscape architecture and the planning, social science. We do things together. In our team, we have social scientists, we have architects, designers, graphic designers, landscape architects, green architecture, restorers. All those people work together to provide a better condition for social change. This is our slogan actually, making better conditions for social change. Because we believe any static nation is dead. We have to reform it, even if we like it. We have to research I'm sounding like existentialist, but I'm not really. But really, I think this is what helped us in RIWAQ, is to reform what we do every project and every year. And by the way, we won many awards, like UN Habitat for enhancing people living conditions. We won the Prince Claus for the role of art in architectural heritage. We won the Carey Stone from America for design to enhance people's life, and we won other prestigious awards, but I'm not going to tell because it's still confidential. I hope it will come in 1 month. It will be open to public. But anyway, we won many things because at the end we felt that we are doing something great for people, and we could see it. Believe me, we cannot measure it in money or in job creation or in jobs we created or in stones we renovated or whatever street infrastructure we did or trees we planted. But sometimes you find some smile on a kid's face, like the playgrounds for Palestine. We are partners to those people, by the way, and we do playgrounds for Palestine as well with them in Palestine, in historic centers. And we could see like people who never had a space to play, they have it. This is the, whatever, you call it resistant, I don't know, I call it living. Because the Israelis, they don't think about us as living people. We are just a bunch of people resisting. But we
resistance through existence, right?
Yeah, this is it. We are living. And believe me, at the end, this is all stupid politics. At the end, there is no space for two-state solution. This is like delaying the inevitable. Believe me, I'm saying it. I know that lots of people are listening to me, and Palestinians, they don't like this, maybe half of them, but the inevitable is to live together. And I mentioned the monograph series that we published on architecture in Palestine. We don't call it Palestinian architecture. We call it architecture in Palestine because we are just a link in this human history. We don't be biased or chauvinistic, and we consider ourselves are the only promised and chosen people. We are not. I don't believe that they exist. Anybody who says I am chosen, I say my son says he's chosen as well. So comparing himself to his sister.
I love it.
This is normal, but this is like, yeah, we need to go over this. It's really, if we have something to learn from heritage, is this span of history, which is very long. Like we deal with thousands of years, and we are fighting on tens of years. So you become nothing, actually, when you think about the humanity or the history of this natural and humankind, whatever. So this is like millions of years, and we are thinking of 10 years, what's going to happen or what happened 65 years ago. And anyway, this is like our takes on resistance. We don't wave flags, but we think by smiling and existing and doing things when the others are not willing to help or not even help, just they put obstacles and even destroy what we do many times, we keep going. This is what we call it resisting, because we want to feel alive.
And I love what you said that, let's see, without memory, you're nothing. I love that.
Yeah, I think so.
You're like a poetic anthropologist.
I studied memory, but I'm not poetic. I would love to be poetic, but I think our poet Mahmoud Darwish said it many times, and I think memory does not allow forgiveness. You cannot forget because of your memories. It does not allow you to forget, which is important. We need to think about memory as a productive way of living. It doesn't mean that we are melancholic. I'm not going to be philosophical, but believe me, Palestinians use memory as a way to cope with this stupid situation we live. The memory helps us. They are not an obstacle. We are not living 65 years ago, by the way, because I came and I sacrificed the Arab Idol finale, by the way. The Arab Idol.
Noticed. I'm very grateful. Doctor, I want to ask you, we've got less than 2 minutes left. You alluded to the likelihood of a one-state solution where Israelis and Palestinians are living together. Could you, in the last minute and a half, just detail exactly what you think will happen in the future? And is it true you think there will be a one-state solution?
I think it can happen. It can happen tomorrow, but I think it will be delayed 10, 20 years. Anyway, this is because on the ground, we live on the ground. The Israelis are living on the two sides of the walls, because we have more than 600,000 settlers now. And the Palestinians are living in the two sides of the wall, because we have 1.5 million Palestinians who elects in the parliament, in the Knesset. So it's like delaying this. I didn't say it myself, but Miron Ben-Benisti, the historian, the Israeli historian, said it. Elam Pape said it, and many, many others. I'm not quoting Israelis because I don't care, but really, I feel it. My office is 1 kilometer from the Sagot settlement. From Sagot settlement, I can see it while I'm talking to you now. Wow. 1 kilometer and less. But the houses of El-Biri, where we are situated, the twin city of Ramallah, the houses are at the fence of the settlements. They are not 10 meters away from the settlements. They are at the fence of the settlement. So it's like jokes, delaying the things, and blackmailing the people with the fear of the Holocaust to come and so on. This is bullshit.
Doctor,
I think
we've run out of time, but we're going to have you back on another show very soon. Thank you so very much.
You're welcome. Thank you for the whole work you do, Kathleen and Harry.
Thank you very much. We'll see you next week. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
You're on board KCAA's Inland Talk Express. KCAA, Loma Linda, 1050 a.m., the station that leaves no listener behind.
From the KCAA Weather Center, I'm Chris Earl Phillips. For this afternoon, sunny and a high near 88. Tonight, mostly clear, low around 61. Tomorrow, sunny and a high of 86. Tomorrow night, chance of drizzle after 11. Patchy fog after 11. Otherwise, partly cloudy, low around 61. On Monday, chance of drizzle before 11. Patchy fog before 11. Otherwise, partly sunny and a high of 85. Monday night, patchy fog after 11. Otherwise, mostly cloudy, low of 62. Tuesday, mostly sunny with a high of 87. That's your weather forecast for this hour from the station that leaves no listener behind. NBC News Radio, AM 1050 KCAA.
This is the KCAA Community Calendar. On June 30th, the 27th Annual Tin Man Triathlon starts with a 5K walk and run around the beautiful Cal State San Bernardino campus. Triathletes continue with a 9-mile bike ride featuring a challenging grade into Devil's Canyon, topped off with a 100-yard swim in the pool, and then a sprint to the finish line. Relay teams are welcome. Proceeds benefit the many San Bernardino Sunset Rotary Club projects from local scholarships. For registration information, go to rotarytinman.org. And that's your KCAA Community Calendar.
Living the country life. Ideas and inspiration for your place in the country.
Backyard volleyball is popular for entertaining or just having fun with the kids. A sand court takes a bit of work to build, but it'll last